Good morning. Now, I know for many of you it's hard to believe that on this day, the 11th day of November, that we are experiencing the heat and humidity that we are experiencing. And if you're like me, you spend half the morning working on your hairdo, only to have to come out in this humidity and have whatever's going on with my hair happen. All of my brothers that are bald-headed know exactly what I'm talking about. People have no appreciation for how long it takes us to get ready in the morning when we've got our hair to do. I'm Rodney Bennett. I'm president of the University of Southern Mississippi, and I want to say good morning to each of you again, and I want to thank you for joining us on this very important, very exciting day, the 11th day of November, Veterans Day and groundbreaking day for a premier building that has been a long time in the making. I'd like to begin by acknowledging those of you who were not able to join us in person this morning, but who are watching this special event online. And I'm told that the online family is here to my left. I want to make sure I give y'all a wave and a shout out and thank you all for being here. It is my pleasure to welcome each of you to the University of Southern Mississippi as we break ground on Quinlan-Hammond Hall of Honor, future home of the Center for Military Veterans, Service Members, and Families. Many of you have heard me say that military service to our country is among the highest forms of patriotism and selflessness. I'd like to acknowledge each of our veterans, active duty, military, and reservists on this very special day. If you're in that category, if you would stand if you're able to do so. If you're not, wave your hand. If you're already standing, if you'd wave so that we might acknowledge you. On behalf of the University of Southern Mississippi and our alumni across the state of Mississippi and all around the world, we thank you for your service, past, present, and future. As president of the University of Southern Mississippi, I am so proud of our institutional commitment to ensuring student success. For more than 110 years, we have provided high-quality education and research programs, in addition to exceptional resources and opportunities that foster a comprehensive learning experience for all of our students. I am even more proud that we are able to extend the same level of commitment and dedication to the men and women whose service and sacrifice protects our communities, protects our state, and protects our country. The University of Southern Mississippi has produced outstanding military leaders for more than 6 decades, and our alumni have led the charge in some of the most challenging conflicts our country has faced in modern history. We take our role as a military-friendly institution seriously, and we work hard to support and advance the educational goals of our service members, who have given so much to ensure that our freedoms are protected. As our military student population continues to grow, our goal is to provide appropriate space and resources designed to meet their needs and their interests. And so today, I could not be more proud to break ground on Quinlan-Hammond Hall of Honor. I want to thank each individual who has contributed their time, their expertise, and their support to advance this special facility from its inception. I also want to thank 2 specific units here at the University of Southern Mississippi. I'd like to begin first by recognizing the USM Foundation, but more specifically, I'd like to recognize Stacy Mercier for her attention to detail and her commitment to seeing this project through to the finish line. Thank you so much, Stacy. Secondly, I'd like to recognize the USM physical plant, but more specifically, I'd like to recognize Dr. Chris Crenshaw and Barney Poole for their contributions and partnership in advancing each stage of this project. Chris and Barney, where are you? There's Chris, Barney. Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you to the men and women of the USM physical plant. Very much appreciate it. And now, it is my distinct honor and privilege to recognize the two individuals whose vision has brought us to today. First is Mr. Joseph F. Quinlan, Jr., who is a dedicated USM alumnus, a veteran of the Marine Corps, and he, along with his wife, Suzanne, are the lead donors for this exciting new building. Joe and Suzanne, who are here in front, on behalf of the University of Southern Mississippi, I cannot thank you enough for your engagement and passion for the university. We are so fortunate to have you as part of our Golden Eagle family. And like all good Southerners know, when you say something 3 times, that means you really mean it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I turn now to Major General Jeff Hammond, who is also a dedicated USM alumnus, U.S. Army retired, and founding director of the university's Center for Military Veterans, Service Members, and Families. General Hammond's love of the university and his willingness to do whatever is needed to advance the institution are the qualities that led to my asking him to provide leadership for our military and veteran initiatives some 7 years ago. General Hammond, it is hard to believe that the conversations that you and I had 7 years or so ago would ultimately lead to where we are today. And I remember the day on the golf cart when you took me around to look at 3 potential sites, and we pulled up here, and you were like a kid at Christmas about this particular site. But graciously, you drove me to the other sites and looked at them, and I remember asking you, General, where would you like for this facility to go? What's your first pick? And you said this site was your first pick. And I said, put a stake in the ground, ladies and gentlemen. This is the site of the new Military Veterans Center, and it shall not be moved. This is reserved for General Jeff Hammond and our Veterans Center. So, General, I want to thank you, sir, for your ongoing leadership and your commitment to our military students. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's thank the General. So to Mr. Quinlan and to General Hammond, each of you embody honor and courage in the truest sense, and I cannot think of anyone more fitting to acknowledge through the naming of this facility. I have no doubt that Quinlan-Hammond Hall of Honor will enable the university to provide the transformative level of support our military students so deserve. And I thank you again for your leadership and dedication to bringing this project to fruition. In just a moment, I will ask Dr. Aubrey K. Lucas, University of Southern Mississippi President Emeritus, to come forward for the invocation. Following Dr. Lucas, we have a bright young student from Sacred Heart Catholic School whose name is Jose Fernandez. Mr. Fernandez will lead us in singing our national anthem. Following the national anthem, General Hammond will share comments on the significance of the project. Following General Hammond will be Mr. Quinlan, who will share remarks. And then to end our program, before we turn the ceremonial dirt behind me, we will hear from the Executive Director of the USM Foundation, Stacy Mercier. If you would now, please help me welcome to the podium President Emeritus Aubrey K. Lucas.
Let us pray. We make our prayer now to the God of us all, to the God of love, to the God of peace. As we come now with grateful hearts, we are certainly thankful for those who gave and those who risked their lives that peace could prevail. And we honor them by turning ground today to build a beautiful and symbolic place that will serve our military and their families for years to come. We give thanks for alumnus Jeff Hammond, for alumnus Joe Quinlan, and many others whose energy, whose resources, and whose persistence made this facility possible. May their hearts be warmed as their dreams become reality. We give thanks for alumnus architect Rich Beckish and his colleagues who are creating here a piece of beautiful architectural art that will inspire us and all others who see it. We give thanks now for our university, and we ask continued blessings on those who lead it, those who teach, those who learn, and those who serve. This is our prayer. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Before I offer my comments, I just want to share a couple of quick reflections. The young man that just sang for us, his nickname's Jax. His father and mother are both doctors here in town. He attends Sacred Heart, and he carries 4.0+++ GPA. Just an incredible kid. And the reason we asked him to sing, because he routinely will come by the Veterans Center and he will sing for the students. And we appreciate that. And the second, yeah. And listening, I haven't seen Dr. Lucas in quite some time, and so I'll share you a Dr. Lucas story. Please forgive me, sir. But this paints the picture of a man who loves this institution. 1977, some of you here remember that year. We were playing the University of Mississippi up north. The week before, Ole Miss had defeated Notre Dame, who was #1 in the country. Remember that? And that week before, we had defeated Auburn. So this was maybe at the time one of the biggest games ever in the state of Mississippi. And I was the quarterback of the team. So we went up north to play them, and as it so would be, a hurricane struck. And we fully expected the game to be called off. Well, needless to say, first, we won, but second, late in the fourth quarter, the offense, we came off the field, and we're all standing there. We aren't facing the field. We're looking up into the stands, and I'll never forget, Amos Fowler, one of our guards, says, "Who in the heck is that nut?" And he points up there, and in the stands behind the bench, there's one person all alone as it's pouring rain, cheering the team on. And I look at the guys, and I said, "That's our president." That's Dr. Lucas. So just a reminder of thank you, then and now. I thank the dear Lord for this moment in time. As you enter the front of the Pentagon, you go in the front door, there's a staircase that goes up to the 3rd floor, and it's the office of the Secretary of Defense. At the front of that staircase, there's a magnificent, large painting. It's a painting of the inside of a church. And with the painting there, you see the stained glass and the sun shining through onto a family of 4 kneeling before the altar. It's a mother, her young son, young daughter, and a soldier. They're kneeling before the altar. And you get the sense, because the sunlight in this picture is shining on this family, you get the sense that this is a family that's praying together one last time before their dad, their husband, goes off to war. And below that painting, there's an inscription. It's from the prophet Isaiah. And it says this, "And the Lord asked, 'Whom shall I send? Whom will go for us?' And the reply came back, 'Here I am. Send me.'" That is why we are here today, on Veterans Day. Just like Isaiah, our service members and their families answered the call of service. They sacrificed for you, for me, for this nation, and for this university. If not for our veterans, we would not be here today. So it's not only appropriate, but most honorable that today on Veterans Day we break ground for the future home for our military veterans, service members, and families. You know, we started this 7 years ago, and Dr. Bennett, it was his vision, his challenge, his direction. And I frankly never had that's why he's the president. He can see over the mountains. I couldn't see over the mountain ever coming to something like this. We started in the basement of McCain Library. We moved to the basement of Roberts Hall, and then we met an angel. I don't believe she's here today, but that's Dr. Cynthia Easterling. Before she retired, she called me one day. She said, "Come with me. I'm going to show you the new Veterans Center." That's where we found our home on Morningside Drive. And with this center, we put together a staff that had a heartfelt pledge. And I want to share with you their pledge. Their pledge to me and to you in this university is, number one, we will always lead by example. Number two, we will always love our students. And number three, we will provide the finest in customer service. And the work of this staff has resulted in our program being rated the number 9 military caring program in the United States of America. We have a remarkable staff, and it'd be my honor to introduce you to them. Could my staff please stand up? Ladies and gentlemen, these people are, I'll go from my left to right. Michael McGee's our outreach coordinator. If you don't know Michael, then I don't know where you've been, because Michael's everywhere all the time, every time. He's the ultimate enrollment guy. He does incredible things. Next is David. David Magola does our administration for our VA certification. He's also received the Staff Excellence and Achievement Award from the university this year. And previous year, he was recognized by the Secretary of Defense for his unique care that he provides to our students. Next to him is Stacy Henley. Stacy's our Gulf Coast administrator. She's been doing this for 20 years, and a day doesn't go by that Stacy's not on a Zoom conference or something with our staff, leading the way and caring for these kids and these people. Next to her is Corey Parker. Chuck and Joe, he's our Marine. Gotta have a Marine. One's gotta have a Marine. Corey's our young Marine. And the next to him is Stephen Welch. Stephen is his salary's paid for by the VA. We're one of the only schools in the South that has a Stephen Welch. He's our Vet Success on Campus counselor, and among other things, what does he do? He finds these kids jobs. So this is the staff that makes it all happen, and I thank each and every one of you. Thank you. Yeah, I told you we start off with 300. Today we serve over 720 military students, which is almost 12% of the overall enrollment. And we consider these youngsters our credentials. And I'd like you to I want to introduce them, just a few of them that are here. Cody King. Is Cody here? Cody's with the Air National Guard. He's a senior, major in information technology. And get this, he wants to become a commissioned officer in the United States Air Force. That's cool. Thank you. Martha Reseve. Martha, you here? You know, she's a Navy veteran, number one. And number two, she married a Marine, and she tells us that the toughest job in the Corps is being married to a Marine. I guess it's okay. She's been married 44 years. She works in our School of Education, and she's working on her second master's degree. Thank you. Carrie here, Carrie Parker. Okay, I don't. Okay, Ryan Dean. Ryan is, he's a special guy, a dad, a husband. He just completed the ROTC competition. He's going to go, we're going to go active duty. Active duty. he could very well become one of those guys that earns the rank of general one day. If anyone's going to do it coming out of the ROTC, I think that might be the guy. Thank you, my friend. Joy Forehand. Joy is a Coast Guard veteran. She's a business major, and she tells us she's just proud to be a part of all this. She's a mother. She's a wife. Her spirit just lights up the entire center because she just never knows how to say the word no. It's always find a way yes. Thank you, Joy. And Matt McAlpin. Matt is a Marine Corps veteran. He's a major in criminal justice, and he's an aspiring federal law enforcement official. Pretty cool, huh? Thank you, Matt. And finally, I want to introduce you to another student veteran of ours who's very special, Lindsay Wilbur. This is hard. Lindsay was an Army wife. She works as a work studies student in our program. She's a full-time USM student. She's a mother of 2. She's majoring in anthropology and minoring in Spanish. She's a Gold Star wife. Her husband, Staff Sergeant Christopher Wilbur, died in Afghanistan. You chose Southern Miss. Thank you. So those are our credentials. That's a representation of our credentials. Now I want to tell you a little bit about the friends who made this a reality, the benefactors. Foremost, Vietnam Marine veteran Joe Quinlan and his wife, Sue. Just an incredible family. I told Joe earlier today I thought I understood leadership until I met him. His son was in the Marines. His son-in-law, a Marine. He's loved this university since day one. His persistence, and it's his efforts that have made this happen to bring us to where we're at today. There was a time when he came by to visit us at the Vet Center, and he walked out in tears. He shared with me how when he came home from Vietnam, he got off the ship in California, and a bunch of people out there, and they're thinking they're there to congratulate him, but they're there to holler slurs and throw things at him. And he made a commitment that that we're going to do good. We're going to do great by these kids here at the University of Southern Mississippi. And everything he's done has been a team effort with Joe and his wife, Sue. I am forever grateful. God bless you. Thank you. We also have Marine veteran Chuck and his wife Rita Sienna. You know about the Siennas. They've been there forever, it seems, helping this university, helping people. But there's a side of them you don't know anything about. The things you don't hear about. And I'll share one with you. About 2 years ago, they came into town on a Saturday afternoon from Texas. And they came to the Veterans Center to spend the afternoon with 3 of our student veterans. These 3 student veterans wanted to start their own business. I said, who better to ask than Chuck Sienna? And they came. He came and spent the whole afternoon with these 3 kids, mentoring them, guiding them, protecting them from making mistakes. You never heard about that. Well, I'm here to tell you, Chuck and Rita, the business is successful. It's working. God bless you. Thank you. Then Carlos and Judy Toulousa. When I think of family, God, I love my family. But I think of family with a big capital F on it. Is that important? It's the Toulousas. You've had us into your home. You've let us into your hearts, and you've given your hearts to this university. You know, Judy's father, Milton Gusso, was a B-52 mechanic. And he was able to use the GI Bill back then. He started at UTEP and he finished at USM. But as an enlisted soldier back then, and even to a degree true today, you live paycheck to paycheck. And growing up, they just couldn't do the thing. They couldn't do the McDonald's on a Friday night or a movie on a Saturday because it was just too hard. So they established an endowment for this Veterans Center. And this endowment designed to scholarship to go to a needy student who has a family, a student who wouldn't have to face the hardships that the Gusso family, under the caring of your parents Milton and Ruth, had to deal with. And they've established this remarkable endowment, and then they went a step further to invest in this, in the Hall of Honor here. You two are the best. God bless you, and thank you. And then there's Jonathan and April Payne. You know, they ensured the legacy of their dad. I think if we're looking for who's the ultimate Mr. USM, was probably Jimmy Payne. He loved this university in every way, shape, or form. And this foundation has allowed his name to live on. This foundation has been there for us as well in this project. So a special thank you to Jonathan and April. And then someone, thank you. And then this person, you know, I don't think she's here today, Betty Dietrich. Her husband was Major General Rex Dietrich. He fought in 3 wars. He was shot, he lost his aircraft over the Netherlands in World War II. He bailed out, tried to fight his way back to friendly lines. He was eventually captured by the SS. He spent time in two different Stalag camps, to include a prison camp in Poland. Escaped twice. Came home after World War II. Flew 110 combat missions in Korea. Flew 89 combat missions in Vietnam. A great American. This is Betty's husband, and in his memory, Betty has stepped forward to help this be a special thing, a special place for our student veterans. Thank you, Betty. And finally, I just want to mention, there's all others, so many. I look out there, I see, you know, Mark Kay and Rachel Fairchild, just longtime Southern Miss Hattiesburg family that stepped forward with kindness. I see Richard Johnston here. Richard, again, always stepping forward to help us with things. Jim Warren, and one in particular guy here I see here is Dr. John Pendergrass. Dr. Pendergrass stepped forward to help us with this project, but Dr. Pendergrass is another one of those, you just don't know the rest of the story. He was a Air Force flight surgeon in Vietnam. He's a doctor. But what you don't know is he also flew 54 F-4 Phantom combat missions in Vietnam as well. And he did that because he wanted to share the burden that set the example for his pilots. He wanted to establish his credibility as a leader. 54 combat missions in Vietnam by a guy that's not supposed to be doing that. It's supposed to be back doctoring people, and he did that as well. Thank you, Dr. Pendergrass. And a lot of folks have helped us, and now I just want to slightly shift, and then I'll close, but I want to talk about our leaders. Stacy Mercier. Stacy and her husband, Andy, have been there for us. They stepped forward to help us. Stacy has been the straw that stirred the drink on this whole thing. She's kept everyone under control. She's kept the squabbling, everyone go to their corners and come back out and shake hands. Because you get a bunch of veterans together and hard heads, none of that's going to happen. But she always, she always had a way about her of just taking that helicopter and landing it back on the ground and discussing it. Your leadership has been absolutely remarkable. Thank you, Stacy, so much. And must recognize Rich Beckish, one of our own. He couldn't make it here today. He's fogged in. But it's his design that we're turning into reality. But there's 2 other guys here that have kept it real. I mean, real. And that's Chris Crenshaw and Barney Poole. And things have gotten, tough, difficult, crazy. I've always been able to, and I've been difficult through all this. I've always been able to look at them and they've been able to say, hey, let's get it real. Let's do a reality check and figure this out. And I thank you guys so much. And then in the business of leadership, we always think leadership from the front, but there's always some leaders that lead from behind. And I want to recognize those leaders. That's my wife, Diane, and her parents, Paul and Ruth Santani. They've lived this. They know the horror of war. They know the horror that goes with service, the pain that comes with it. They know that during the last 7 years, the times when I needed someone to prop me back up, and they've always kept this thing centered in the right direction for me. I can't go home and complain to them, because they always look at me and say, you ought to thank God. You're serving the greatest credentials in the world, our veterans, and they're right. These folks are just a few of the many here who care about our nation, our veterans, and our future. And this is my pledge to you. With this new house, we will accomplish more. We will accomplish more, and we will honor our veterans, service members, and families every day. In closing, I believe that our veterans understand what I'm about to say, and that is what I believe to be the key to life. God blesses us so that we might bless others. And that's what's happened here, particularly with our benefactors. God has blessed us so that we might bless others. And I got to close fine with this. A lot of great people, great things have happened to make this occur. But it was 3 years ago that Dr. Bennett called me. He said, let's go for a ride. And he told you the story, but there's truth in lending. During the ride, he's given me guidance, strategic guidance on how we want this done, how we're going to do it. And he's right, we put the stake in the ground here. But about a month ago, we had what they call a bidders conference. So all the contractors who are interested get on a same network, and we're talking. I was feeling pretty good about that. Joe, we were on that. I look up and I said, oh my God, the university president is on the bidders conference. I share that with you because that's how important it is. Leadership makes things happen. And Dr. Bennett, your leadership has made this happen, and we're so grateful, and thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please take care of each other. God is good all the time.
So you're probably thinking to yourself, that doesn't look like a Rich. As you've heard already, our architect, Rich Beckish, was unable to join us today, and I know it meant the world to he and his team to be a part of this very special day. So in his absence, he has recorded a video that we would like to share with you.
Good morning, everyone. What a fantastic day it is for the University of Southern Mississippi and the city of Hattiesburg. Veterans Day, a perfect day to celebrate this groundbreaking. I'm very sorry I couldn't be there with you today. I really wanted to be there, but unfortunately the weather didn't allow it. Groundbreaking ceremonies are a really important part of the construction process. They signify that milestone in the process where our designs, our ideas, our imagination go from the paper to reality. So that's a really important step. And that's important because people take for granted that all projects come to fruition, and the reality is they don't, because they encounter obstacles and hurdles along the way. So you've reached a very important milestone today, and you should be very proud of that. Groundbreaking ceremonies are also a culmination point of a lot of hard work from a lot of people to get projects to where they're at this point. Some of those people, like General Jeff Hammond. General Hammond created the best military student veteran program in the country. He has the best services, the best programs, and the best staff, but he recognized years ago that the physical environment that he was working out of didn't align with those outstanding services. And he knew that if he could get that physical environment elevated, it would enhance the student veteran educational process. So regardless of the obstacles he faced, he stayed focused on his vision and his mission. And he's gotten us here today. And I congratulate him for that. People like Stacy Mercier and the foundation should also be congratulated because they got behind this project. It wasn't easy, they had challenges, but they recognized how vitally important it was to the student veterans and the value it would add to their educational process. And most of all, I thank the donors. I thank them from the bottom of my heart for getting behind the project, but most importantly, I thank the lead donor and his wife, Joe Quinlan, my good friend. Joe stepped up and he led. He had the courage to lead, and he really got this project started. And I'm very proud of him for doing that. So all these people should be congratulated because today is their day. They got us to this point, and they deserve all the accolades. As I reflect on the design process in this project, I think back to our initial design meeting, almost 19 months ago now. And when the design came into our office, I gathered people from our Atlanta office and our Tampa office, and we all sat around the table and we began to design this building. We knew then that this was a special building. This had to be more than just another building on this campus. It had to reflect certain values that we believed in. It had to reflect gratitude and respect and dignity and patriotism. We knew we had a unique student population here. This wasn't the traditional student. This student comes with a unique life experience. This student was probably a commuter student. And so we wanted the facility to engage with that student differently. We wanted the facility to be the backbone to help elevate that student's experience here at USM. And so when we set out to create the design, we want to articulate these ideas through the form and the shape of this building. And so we did that through the geometry. And as you'll see, the most iconic feature is the entry feature, which is reflective of a salute, so that when you enter this building, we're expressing that gratitude each and every time. You also see it as you enter the building through the light forms on the 6 emblems of the military branches. We want you to remember that each and every time you come into the building. We want you to reflect on the preamble to the Declaration of Independence and recognize the impact the military service has had on the freedoms in our country. So our hope is that the building is utilized in a number of ways. Our hope is that the building facilitates collaboration and motivates and inspires people to do better, to reflect on history. We hope that this building helps to elevate and enhance the military student veterans education process. And we look forward to seeing this building come to fruition, and we believe that it will serve military student veterans for generations to come. So again, I want to congratulate all of you and let you know how proud our firm is and thankful for allowing us to participate in this design project. And we look forward to bringing it to a conclusion. So again, congratulations. Have a wonderful ceremony today. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm pausing because every time I see that clip, it brings to reality that we're finally here, and there is, in your lives, if you've ever invested yourself, better? In each of your lives, if you've ever invested yourself in something, committed yourself to something, and I know most of us have, when you see it come to fruition, when you see it become a success of some kind, whether it's business, family, or an endeavor like this, it touches you deeply. This touches me deeply. My comments are going to be short and sweet because it's a muggy morning and you've been standing or sitting for a good while, so I'll be as brief as I can. I became involved in this project, and I think General Hammond already described most of that. What he didn't tell you was, and I've shared this with a few other people, I guess it was about 24 months ago, I passed the Military Veterans Center over in Morningside. By a show of hands, how many of you have been by there? How many of you know where it is? I passed it. I knew what was in there. I'd been there before, but it was a kind of a cursory visit. And what I saw standing outside was on a misty, cold morning, there were 8 to 10, obviously military veteran students standing in line trying to get assistance, waiting their turn. And if any of you have been in the military, you know that standing in line and waiting your turn is very commonplace. But I stopped and I was stricken. It was almost an epiphany. And I thought to myself, and I knew that there were discussions about trying to create a new military veterans center and something bigger and better. And if you've been by Morningside, you'll realize that that's a very limited facility, especially when you've got 1,700 students that you're trying to service. And General Hammond, Michael, and the staff have all done a phenomenal job in making what we call, I grew up in the country in Orange Grove, what we call making chicken salad out of chicken doo-doo. My point is this, that epiphany caused me to go home from Hattiesburg that day, and I spoke with my wife, and I said, and I was aware of this, that it was going to take probably 3 to 4 years if we did traditional financing through the university, through the IHL, et cetera, and we didn't have the time. It was critical. And by the way, I haven't mentioned, this facility, to my understanding, is the first and only completely privately funded facility on this campus. So it's truly a salute and an honor to each one of you that are sitting here today, especially those of you who have been like family, who have contributed. I'm looking at the audience. I'm not going to embarrass anyone by names, but I'll just tell you that some of you are my brothers, some of you are my sisters. We go way back. Most of you in the audience are USM alums. You'll understand what I'm talking about. We're a unique breed. There's no question about it. We've been underdogs, almost everyone in this audience. We've been underdogs our entire lives, including me. But let me just say a couple of things and I'll close. I couldn't be more appreciative of Dr. Bennett, Stacy, and the foundation staff, the plant facility group, Barney and Chris. I can go on and on and on. At the end of the day, this is a privately funded facility. And I'm not the only one that gave. There are a lot of people in this audience who gave, and not all of them were USM alums. Some of them were Ole Miss, some of them were Mississippi State, some of them were Louisiana Tech, some of them were LSU. They came from all over because they subscribed and believed in this thought. Our military veterans, they don't expect it, they don't ask for it. And to quote General Hammond from a conversation we had the other day, they have earned it. They have earned it. You have earned it. So I say this in closing. I'm humbled to be in your presence. I love this university. I truly love this university. And to note, my wife is an LSU grad. My children and grandchildren are mostly LSU grads with the exception of a Louisiana Tech grad. We've spent most of our professional career in Baton Rouge. But at the end of the day, this is a day that's long been coming. I say again to Dr. Bennett, I've been probably one of the most impatient SO-somethings that you've ever met. I've just, unfortunately, if you're a Marine, and I know that a couple of you in this audience can relate to this, you're impatient people. When you're assigned a task to get something done, yesterday was too late. And it has taken a lot of patience of the administration, of the physical plant facility, and in particular, Stacy Mercier. And I just want to say thank you to everyone here. I feel that we're extremely fortunate to finally have this facility getting started today. And thank you for your friendship. To all of you vets, hoorah! Hoorah! Thank you.
Well, I, like everyone else, am just so excited that we are finally here today. Thank you, Joe. Words cannot express how thankful and appreciative we are for you and your passion for this project and your leadership. You all can see for yourself why we are here today, because without this couple here, we would not be. To my fellow colleagues, alumni, and friends, what an exciting day. Oh my gosh, we are here. My only regret is that because of social distancing requirements, we could not open this invitation to everyone, to all of our supporters. So to you online, thank you for joining us. Can you not hear me? Okay. This project is near and dear to me as well. I come from a military family. My husband Andy comes from a military family. We're so thankful for our veterans, for our active duty military, for our family members who serve right along with those active duty members and veterans and sacrifice so much. So I would like to extend my thank you to you all for your service. Together, we will watch as the Quinlan-Hammond Hall of Honor rises right here. And I would like to thank the over 110 USM alumni and friends who came together to contribute over $2.8 million so that we could construct this facility. General Hammond, you did such a wonderful job introducing some of our most generous benefactors. But I would like to ask all of our donors that are with us today, if you would please just stand where you are and let us all thank you. Don't be shy. You've heard much about our project team, General Hammond. And General Hammond is not a team without Miss Diane. I know she is the rock on which you stand. We'd like to thank Rich Beckish and his firm. One thing that I would like to say that I don't think many people here know is that Spring Engineering is actually a donor to this project as well. They came to General Hammond and they brought 5 fully developed design concepts, not just one, but 5 different concepts for he and the military students to review and decide on which was the best facility for them. So to Rich and his team, particularly Derek Ray, whose this design is his concept, and Susan Colgan, we thank you. I'd also like to extend my thanks to Dr. Chris Crenshaw and Barney Poole and the rest of the physical plant who we could not do this without. And lastly, I would like to introduce our partners for construction, Matt Pace and the Coteray construction team. Where are you guys? Thank you all so much for being here today. We look so forward to working with you guys. And hopefully sometime around this time next year, we will be ribbon cutting this facility. Now, before we close the program and gather to ceremoniously break the ground, I'd like to ask Dr. Bennett to join me back on stage. Now, Joe and Suzanne, don't kill me, but I would like to take a moment of privilege and ask you to join us back on the stage. You guys, I know you're giving me the look. You are ingrained in the fabric of USM. And Joe, I still remember the day that you raised your hand to me and said, if I can ever do anything for you, I'm here. Little did you know how much we would lean on you. Joe's actually a member of the Athletic Foundation Board as well as the USM Foundation Board, and his leadership and counsel are just indispensable. And Suzanne, we know how important you are in this picture, and we thank you so much for sharing Joe with us. So in a typical year, the USM Foundation would have a big black tie gala, our Honor Club gala, and we would have the opportunity to welcome new members of our Honor Club. And at that event, which had to be postponed this year, it would have happened in March, we would have had the great honor and privilege of inducting Joe and Suzanne into the Gallery of Benefactors. The gallery is the topmost level for giving to USM. We are so thankful for your support. Now, gallery members have a portrait hung in the atrium of the Trent Lott Center. And that's where I work. So every day I walk into the Trent Lott Center and I see the wonderful faces of those donors who have given so generously to USM belongs.
If you grew up in Orange Grove, you think this is a practical joke.
And we have just a small token. This is actually a custom piece of art by Eric Eves, who's a local artisan here in Hattiesburg.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. We thank you all for your generosity and leadership in this project.
Everybody look right here. 1, 2, 3. All right. Hold it. There we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pick up some dirt. Hold it. Don't throw it. 1, 2. Everybody look here.